everyone, my name is Nicole and I'm a music therapist that specializes in working with seniors. Today I would like to discuss with you all a concept called creative flow. As well, I will share some stories of clients that I have witnessed engaging in creative flow during music therapy sessions. Creative flow was first introduced in 1975 as an experience of total engagement in an activity. The concept of creative flow was described as stepping out of your everyday routines and into a different reality. Examples of flow have been found in sports, chess, religious rituals or ceremonies. It has been observed in surgeons performing surgery and also people creating within the arts. People that experience flow may experience a time distortion, so time passing quickly without noticing. If you're experiencing flow, you may find yourself effortlessly focused on the task at hand, and perhaps you may feel skilled at the task but also challenged by it at the same time. Also, it has been observed that certain cognitive processes are not present when someone is experiencing flow. Some of these processes include mind wandering, feeling self-conscious, and fears of failure. These cognitive processes seem to not be present when someone is experiencing flow. So we've discussed flow a little bit, but there have been some differences noted in specifically creative flow. One way that creative flow is different from flow is that what emerges from the creative flow may be surprising to the creator as they explore their medium. Another difference is that creative flow involves meaning making. Simply put, making meaning out of what you are creating. Another difference between flow and creative flow is that creative flow involves intuitive thinking, which is fast and automatic, and creative flow also involves deliberate and reflective thinking, which is more slow and controlled. Creative flow also involves divergent thinking, which is where our cognition moves in multiple directions and we're able to come up with new and original ideas. There have been a few times in my music therapy practice that I've experienced someone that I'm working with in a creative flow. The first story that I'd like to share is about a resident living in a long-term care facility that was unable to communicate in English, but often during our theme-based singing groups, this resident would be tapping their hands on a surface, maybe a table, or tapping their hands on their knees, or tapping their feet to the steady beat, and also adding in some different rhythms as they listen to the music and move to the music. Because of this resident's response to the music, I decided to invite this resident to a music therapy drumming program. This resident agreed to come to the music therapy drumming program and chose to play a large drum with a mallet. We started the session off with a group drumming improvisation. I started off the steady beat and encouraged residents to join in when they felt ready to do so. As this resident watched other group members join in on their own instrument, it appeared that they would become more confident in joining in on their own instrument. They started exploring the different sounds they could make with their mallet on their large drum. As they explored, they appeared to become very joyful. They started smiling, laughing, and were almost surprised at the sounds they were making with their large drum. As the drumming improvisation continued, this resident began trying out different rhythms on their drum and began responding to other group members' rhythms. This is one example of a client that I observed to be engaged in creative flow while a part of a music therapy drumming improvisation. Here is another example of a client that I witnessed to be engaged in creative flow during a music therapy session. A client of mine expressed interest in learning the electronic keyboard and also learning how to utilize the programmed sounds within the electronic keyboard. This client always expressed how much they loved rhythm and drums. They would often say, "For me, rhythm is music." Together we began exploring the electronic keyboard. The client was very excited to learn that they could play along to programmed drum beats on the electronic keyboard. The client tried out a few different programmed drum sounds on the electronic keyboard and found their favorite one. Then they began improvising on the white piano keys. While the client improvised on the piano along to the programmed drum beat, they appeared incredibly focused, evidenced by a focused gaze on the keyboard while they played. As well, they were tapping their feet and nodding their head to the steady beat. The client improvised for quite a few minutes while maintaining this incredible focus. During this music therapy session, I believe that I witnessed this client engage in creative flow. Another example of one of my clients engaging in creative flow within a music therapy session was when I invited a client to a small group drumming music therapy session. This client was a resident living in a long-term care facility, and they would often get very easily distracted by what was happening around them. They had a feeling this resident may stay for a minute or two, but then get distracted and leave the group. However, I encouraged the resident to choose a percussive instrument. They chose a small hand drum mallet. I encouraged the resident to try different rhythms on their small hand drum while the rest of the group played to a steady beat. The resident appeared curious and began exploring their small hand drum and trying different rhythms very softly on the small hand drum. As the resident followed the steady beat of the group, they slowly appeared to become more and more engrossed in their playing. Eventually, this resident closed their eyes, brought their small hand drum close to their chest, and began tapping their feet and nodding their head to the steady beat while they tried different creative rhythms on their small hand drum. This resident showed incredible focus in their playing, as well as incredible focus on the other group members and the steady beat that they were providing for this resident to follow. Thank you so much for watching this video on creative flow. If you would like to learn more about music therapy, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, I'm wondering